Welcome to the Village Green NBTV show on the environment and other issues in Newport Beach. I'm Nancy Gardner, your host. Today, gardening, spring gardening. We're going to see some good ideas for your garden, particularly with color. Also some tools and how to just better take care of everything and make everything more productive. Well, here we are at Rogers Gardens.
Yeah.
And I've got Suzanne Hetrick. And spring. It hasn't felt much like spring the last couple of days, but today it does.
Today it's gorgeous.
It's sunny.
I think spring is springing right now.
It's finally springing. And you've got a bunch of things for us. I notice we're heavy into floral. So let's talk about what you've got for us today.
Yeah, I think everyone, once the weather starts getting nicer, everyone wants to put color in their garden because that's the first thing you think of. And then we have Easter and people are inviting guests over again. Yay! So right now we have these beautiful Ranunculus, and they're called Italian Ranunculus. Just like the last 2 months we had Italian poppies and we had Italian anemones. They're not actually a different kind of variety. They were bred in Italy, and these are beefier, stronger. The leaves are bigger, the blooms are more robust. And so these are just gorgeous. These Ranunculus in so many different colors, from white to yellow to pink to red.
That's a really pretty bloom.
Oh, they're gorgeous, and they're going to bloom for months. And the really nice thing is for this month, you can buy 2 and you'll get 1 free. So that's kind of a nice thing. We also have, I really like geraniums. A lot of people,
so do I.
You can kind of go back and forth on them, but I love them. They are so hardy. They bloom so much, and they come in such a wide variety. This one here has these beautiful burgundy leaves with the green edge, the beautiful, beautiful double pink flowers. And this one is called, I totally forgot, Cherry Night. I mean, just spectacular.
Well,
and
I thought one of the, for me at least, the beauties of a geranium is you may not get quite as many flowers, but it can do without full sun.
Right, right. And it's also a little drought tolerant. So if you're not the, most attentive gardener, what a piece of drama to have in your garden that doesn't.
And they do so well in pots.
They do.
When you go to Europe, you see, I remember being, when we were in Greece and just seeing all these pots of and the geraniums were just beautiful.
Right, and they're so easy, and people think, well, I want something unique or different, but you can get unique geraniums, and we have these beautiful Martha Washington. Look at these.
Oh, look at that.
The Martha Washingtons have these beautiful kind of funny frilly leaves and the little bicolor flowers.
Get those colors there?
Is that in there? Yeah. So they're just really spectacular, and some people might have a tendency to think of this as kind of an old-timey flower, but really it's dramatic.
Look at
beautiful.
how the shape is too. I mean,
it's
that
beautiful.
in a pot would just be, or in the garden either, but just so nicely shaped.
Just beautiful, and I think I'm happy that the Martha Washingtons are kind of coming back now because they had gone a little bit out of style. They are back, and they are spectacular.
That you have to, just like everything else, plants come in and out of style.
Right. So just go with the classics. They are beautiful, and a little spin on the classics here.
Now, are the red? Is that also the?
Yeah, this is Ranunculus as well.
Okay.
So
and is that Italian also?
Yeah.
Okay.
The Italian Ranunculus.
Okay.
So just a little different than the regular Ranunculus.
That's a beautiful red. That's a clear red.
I know, just gorgeous. These are so spectacular.
So
really nice.
We get some of the color, and what do we do to make them really happy?
So fertilize. You're usually seeing me with the granulated fertilizer from Down to Earth. It's always really, really good to have it. But if you want to make your flowers pop, you can use these water-soluble ones. This is an all-purpose. It's going to be great for everything, but we also have a flower and bloom. This is something you do want to use on your flowers because some plants you don't want to push, like azaleas or camellias. You don't want to push them. You want them to be fully in the right season. Flowers you can push.
Okay.
Things like bedding plants. So use this flower and bloom. You can use it either once a month, or you can dilute it and do it once a week and really just keep that color coming and coming and coming. And it's so easy. Just a little spoonful in a bucket of water, water your plants, and then you can water a little bit more if you like, and that's it. It's so easy.
Okay, then you've got a couple of smaller examples here.
Yeah, the Calibrachoas or million bells have finally started coming in, and so we have these beautiful 1-gallon yellows and these beautiful blues, and pretty soon we'll have them in 4-inch. We have a couple right now, not too many, but they come in every color of the rainbow, and they're just beautiful. So if you had a pot with these beautiful geraniums, you could throw some of these here and they will just spill out.
Now, are these all annuals?
No, these are actually all perennials.
Oh,
well,
wonderful.
The Ranunculus most people grow as an annual, like a seasonal plant, but these are little tubers and you can dig them up if you like. Most people just get rid of them at the end of the season, but you could.
Okay.
And then of course we have the Japanese maples. We are kind of famous for our huge selection of Japanese maples at this time of year. They come in completely bare with no leaves, and then suddenly as the weather warms, we have these beautiful, just these gorgeous, gorgeous acid-loving trees, and they can be anywhere from super tiny little pygmy Japanese maples up to big giant trees. The coral barks and the blood goods will get 20 feet plus.
Well, now something like this, you can keep it fairly small then?
You can. It's almost, it's like a bonsai technique. So you want to prune the roots as well as the top.
Okay.
And this one is called Rhode Island Red. Isn't that cute? But this one will get big, but you can see the shape of it is very round, and that's kind of nice because some Japanese maples have a real spreading, some like this beautiful.
Yeah, this is something.
That's
really
called
pretty.
waterfall with very good reason.
Yeah.
Because this thing just has the spectacular falling look.
Yeah, and it has sort of an Asian feel to it, doesn't
Oh,
it?
it does. It does. And it's perfect for shade. You only want to give them morning sun. Afternoon sun is a little bit too much for them, and keep them as acidic as possible. So you're going to use acid fertilizer, acid soil, mulch with peat moss, and we'll talk about mulch in just a minute, but they really, they just love an acidic atmosphere environment.
Okay, so get back to flowers for a minute. About the only flowers I have in my yard are some roses, and of course, roses have lots of little issues with all sorts of things.
They
Now,
do. Oh, look, I have
any of
stuff
these
over
have
here.
things like mildew or anything that we?
Well, I guess you know, anything can have problems. I feel like geraniums are so easy. They will occasionally get a little worm, and for that, this is here we are.
Or like that make the lacy leaves?
Right.
Okay.
So the little worms on geraniums and a lot of plants can really be eradicated very easily with a once or twice a month spray of BT. You don't need to get it every single where on the plant, just get it on that leaf somewhere, and when the worm or caterpillar eats it, it will die. So, and it's very, very insect specific, worms and caterpillars only. So it's a great thing. Most of these you'd want to just be careful not to water on them, because then you could get some powdery mildew or rot. But for the most part, just fertilize them and they're ready to just to go and to be happy.
I think most of us like the simple ones.
Yes.
The one that look gorgeous and look like we spent all of our hours in the garden and yet produce. So these look like some winners.
They are fantastic.
All right, so now for the other part of it, it's never quite as glamorous, but
no, just the care. But
yeah.
we do have, look at these. I forgot about these.
Yeah.
So it is Dahlia season. This is when you want to plant your tubers. We sell these gorgeous tubers. There's 2 in a package. You're going to plant them and they're going to start growing very quickly and blooming very, very quickly. So within a couple months, you'll have beautiful big dahlias. We're selling dahlia plants already. It's a little bit early, but you know, we have them. There's so many different forms of dahlias, the big dinner plates, the round little balls, and then these cute little dark angels that are just, you know, a little
you wouldn't
stem.
even know those were dahlias. So
Right.
do you, again, with these, would you dig them up after they've, and try to keep them for the next year?
Yes. I like to keep my dahlias in pots. It's a lot easier to just kind of, you can leave them in the pots if you want, just don't water them over the winter, because it's when you leave them in the ground, they can rot.
Oh,
because
okay.
we water year round
Right,
here.
yeah.
But you can dig them up, you know, set them aside, let them dry off.
You don't
and
have
then-
to put them in the refrigerator like?
No, you
Okay.
can just put them in a brown paper bag and leave them aside until next
And mark
February.
them so you don't throw them out with the trash.
Right, that too. And then, yeah, you'll have big, beautiful dahlias and be the envy of all your neighbors. They are really good, and they can also take a little afternoon shade too. They don't mind it, so it's kind of nice
No, that is
you can
nice.
have these. And yeah, so that's dahlias. We also have begonia bulbs and things like that. We have a whole slew of bulbs
Yeah,
and
I got
tubers
some,
right now.
which I'd never done bulbs. For some reason, I was always like, oh, they're too tricky and everything. But I got the scented begonias.
Oh yeah, aren't they nice?
Bloom for such a long time.
They do.
And I do almost nothing with them. I mean,
And then in the winter, you can just set them aside when
Yeah.
they go dormant.
Yeah.
And if they're in a pot, just leave them there.
yeah, and they come back just beautiful. So,
Yeah.
so if you're at all hesitant about bulbs, you don't need to be. If I can do it, you can do it.
We can all do. I know I've just taken to growing dahlias recently. I grew up, my dad grew them and he loved them, and I was always thinking, ooh, it's too fiddly, but it's actually pretty easy. Okay, so when you have your beautiful flowers and everything, a lot of times people will come to us when they have issues that may be a little bit ahead of them. So try and be on top of it. I tell people all the time, if you're going to buy fertilizer, use it. Run out of it. Come back, get more. It's not for special occasions. Your plants will really benefit from being fertilized all the time, regularly, and they will help. It'll help them be stronger, and they'll have less pests and less diseases and things like that. So use that fertilizer. Something like the acid mix is so easy. We have this in all-purpose as well. You know, if you're going to buy one, buy all-purpose or acid mix and just throw it everywhere. It is a granular fertilizer, and so you can just throw it. It's that easy. The worm castings are also always great for your soil. It's going to help your plants take up nutrients better, and it's also going to put an enzyme into your plants that
Now, do you
maybe...
dig that in?
You can either just sprinkle it on the top, you can dig it in a little bit, you can throw some in while you're planting. It's all good.
Okay.
It's all good. But this will release an enzyme into the plant so that they are not as attractive to pests. The pests don't like the taste of the plant anymore.
Okay.
So this is your best friend. And this is a grow bag. I just bought this because I love these. If you have a patio that maybe the sun comes on one side of the day and not on the other, if you want to move something around, a grow bag is a great thing to drag around.
Well,
and
also
follow
it
the
weighs so
sun.
much less, so that if you were concerned about what's supporting your deck or something.
Yeah, and this is a really, really short, squatty one, but we have deeper ones that you can do tomatoes in, you know, and then at the end of the season, just get rid of the soil and pack this away. You can also wash these. I didn't really realize that, but you can wash them.
Hummingbird.
I know that was a
I've been
hummingbird.
saying this is my territory.
Right. So compost in springtime, throw compost wherever you can on top of your soil just to help improve it. It's going to make your flowers and plants look a lot better. I think I'm starting a small. Okay, and then my absolute favorite thing is mulch. Mulch, mulch, mulch for so many different reasons, but water conservation, weed suppression, and also to keep the roots of plants cool. So when it gets really hot, this mulch helps a lot to help your plants kind of get through that hot weather. So it's so many good things, and it also breaks down and eventually feeds your soil. So cannot say enough about worm castings and mulch.
All right, so then to what my real concern is. I know flowers are very nice, and I encourage everybody to have flowers in their garden.
Yes.
But I really like vegetables. Mm-hmm. So we're into March now, and
Time. Yeah.
some of us have started seeds indoors, but a lot of things are sown directly, like beans and corn. So,
Cucumbers.
And cucumbers. So what's a good...
So as soon as the nighttime temperatures are above 50 degrees, you want to put your plants outside. So you can start your seeds and everything indoors, just don't set them outside until the nighttime temperatures are consistently above 50. Some of them can take a little cooler, but that's a good rule of thumb to get your vegetables outside and then plant them up. And growing from seed is such a great way to get exactly what you want.
Yeah. All right, so same kinds of soil enrichments with your vegetables as with these?
Oh, definitely. Worm castings, because again, it's going to help keep pests away from it, but it's going to, it helps the plant roots open up a little bit better to nutrients. So you're going to have a healthier plant.
And then I notice we've got this sluggo.
Yes, as we start watering a little bit more, sometimes the snails and the slugs come. Sluggo is safe for pets and for children, so it's a good thing. You're going to do it maybe once a week, and it will melt when it gets wet, so it's less effective then. But try and use sluggo if you have hostas or anything that's coming out of the soil. Calla lilies might be coming out of dormancy. Those snails will just mow right over them.
Yeah.
You'll never see them again. Sluggo Plus is really good if you have those earwigs, sow bugs, pill bugs. It's and snails and slugs. So
All right, well, pill bugs, what do they do? I mean, I never think of them as being garden
they're not
pests.
like great. They'll munch on roots a little bit, but
Okay.
for the most part, some people have a lot of them in their garden, and then it can be an issue. So then I would say use this, earwigs and things like that. But if you just have snails and slugs, just the regular sluggo is fine.
Fungus. Some of things like tomatoes and have certain viruses. Some have fungus.
Right.
Are there any sprays that are good to help with that?
Yes, this disease control spray, you can also, I brought over this neem. Neem.
Oh yeah, neem oil. Okay.
Neem oil is a great product. It's very natural. So is this disease control spray, but this one is a little bit stronger, I guess you'd say. This is a fungicide and a bactericide, and this one is a fungicide, miticide, and insecticide. Neem can be very, very effective, I find, when things are not too bad. When things get really bad, you need to bring out the big guns, and that's why you want to be out in your garden all the time, checking on it. But this disease control is so good. It's for powdery mildew, for other funguses and things like that that might be on your plants. So have things in your arsenal at home. I like to tell people there are two kinds of pests. There's a water pest and there's an oil pest. So one you need to saturate with something like an insecticidal soap or some water-based pesticide. And the other ones you want to use an oil-based pesticide to smother them. You should have both in your garage or in your tool shed or wherever. And then a fungicide would be good. So neem can cover a lot of things because it is a fungicide and an insecticide, but it's...
use this early, hopefully.
Yes, use it early and make sure that you're really keeping an eye on things. And then Takedown is a really good pest control spray. It'll kill eggs, larvae, and adults. So when you have something that you're eating, this is a great one because you're just going to nip it in the bud really quickly.
So last time we were here, we talked a little about indoor plants, and I don't think of indoor plants as being seasonal particularly, but are there things that, now that it's getting warmer, that we should think about in terms of those?
Oh gosh. Trying to think. Well, of course you want to make sure that the sun doesn't come in as it's moving around your room. Make sure that your plants do not get burned by direct sunlight. Move them around. You definitely want to water them well. If you're turning your heat off, so it's going to be not quite as dry, but also just water them so that they almost dry out in between. It's better to underwater than to overwater your indoor plants. Fertilize them just as much and clean them. Cleaning them is probably the number one thing that people don't really like doing, but it can become methodical and just a rhythm of cleaning the leaves of everything. And we have a beautiful spray now that's really nice, and it's not like that leaf shine stuff that's kind of toxic. This is a very natural, it's an insecticide and a leaf shine. So it's really nice.
Nice against, say, the little...
Right, and the spider mites will come and they can really decimate a plant pretty quickly. But also, when you have a lot of dust on your plant leaves, they can't grow as well. So you want to always make sure that they're really clean.
Okay. Then I'm thinking it's probably late, but what about bare root trees, bare root roses and everything? Is it late for them?
We don't really sell bare root plants here. We have roses and things. A lot of the bare root things are better planted kind of in the late fall.
Okay.
So fruit trees and things like that. But if you have a fruit tree or a rose or something, you can plant it now, of course. This is Southern California. We do what we want here. And everything, unless there is a total heat wave, it's not advised to plant it then. But otherwise, yeah, plant them.
Okay.
There's so many good things to plant right now. It's just, you know, I look around you and
Right.
anything goes.
So now, on our flowers and everything, I know we've talked before about, say, one deep watering is better than, but is that true with flowers as well, or do you want to water them more frequently?
You're definitely, you know, going to water for the weather, so probably twice a week. A good, slow, deep soaking is much better than multiple short, not so deep waterings. The deeper the roots can get, the better they'll survive when it's a little bit warmer.
All right. Well, you've shown us some really beautiful things. I'm always so like, oh, do I have any room here? Do I have any room here? Where can I stick
put a
this or
pot?
that? Yeah. This in particular caught my fancy with its delicate leaves and everything,
so
and the color is just. I mean, it says, "Oh, I am spring."
It does, right? And then in the fall, the skeletons of these Japanese maples can be so beautiful as well. If you have little things around them in the winter and you're pruning it back, and it's kind of a fun little task.
Well,
to
it does.
do.
It looks like so many Japanese paintings and
Yes.
prints that I've seen. Just there's like,
And
oh
you
yes,
can
of
put it
course
over a
is.
pond or something. It'd be really
Yeah.
gorgeous.
Oh, wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you again.
My
for
pleasure.
All
Thank
this
you,
information.
Nancy. This is wonderful
Oh, you
to
didn't
come
tell us
and
about
talk.
this.
Oh, well, everybody needs pruners, especially if you have a Japanese maple. Pruners are just the number one thing. Like every gardener has certain tools that they love. I love having my pruners always in my back pocket, just so you can take care of little things. You know, you see one little branch that you don't like, just snip it. Have them ready, and then if you can, try and learn how to sharpen your pruners,
Oh,
which is
yeah.
a whole other thing. You know, you
Okay.
just get
Yeah.
a little wet.
Tell us. How do you sharpen a pruner?
Well, you get a whetstone
Uh-huh.
usually, and then you're just gonna
Like you
go,
would a knife,
go
sort
with
of?
the grain. Exactly.
Oh, I never even thought about that.
And a lot of times people will just say, "Oh, well, they're not sharp anymore. I should get
Yeah,
new
I
ones."
got new ones, right.
No, just sharpen them. Super easy.
Wow.
You know, just like a knife.
I mean,
Exactly.
that's one of those. Duh.
And then
obvious.
try and keep your pruners clean. So after you sharpen them, you're going to put a little oil on them, so like machine oil or something like that, and keep them out of being thrown in the garden, like a lot of times people will do. I'm not mentioning any names to
Like
the
mine.
man I live with, who likes to just throw them on the ground so that they stick there. And he says, I can see them very easily.
Exactly.
But try and keep them rust free. Again, a little steel wool will take that rust off, and some oil will seal them. So.
Well, that also brings up, I've thought often, say I have a rose bush with powdery mildew and I'm trimming some of it off back. Should I then like sterilize them before I go on to another plant?
You really should clean your pruners in between plants with just rubbing alcohol or something. If you have a cloth that has rubbing alcohol, just kind of wipe it really, or have a little bucket with solution, because you can spread things. Powdery mildew doesn't really spread like that, but things like fire blight will,
Okay.
and other diseases. That's a great point, is to always clean your pruners in between different plants.
Okay. Another lesson for us, always clean your pruners.
Yes.
And you can sharpen them at home.
Yes, please do.
Well, thank you, Suzanne.
My pleasure.
Well, that's our show. I've learned something. I hope you've learned something. And until next time, let's all work on making our village green.